Christopher Nolan never has a scene where they're sitting down to talk about something where the cafe doesn't explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always wrapped in an interesting scene where you're like, you know, the worst thing is when you're watching the movie and you're like, I'm learning now.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to be entertained. I don't want to be learning.
That
where
happens.
He entertains you.
Exactly.
So you're tricked into learning about what's going on.
But that's
and he's also teaching you his own bro science.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give a shit about the science of dreams. I love how he's like, well, this is how dreams work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm jealous of Christopher Nolan's dreams then.
Me too. Because he's like, you don't need to know how real dreams work. You need to know how my dreams work.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 52 of Straight to Series. My name is Connor.
And I'm Ian.
And this is a special 10-year anniversary Straight to Series.
10 years later, baby.
10 years later. We haven't been doing this for 10 years, but it's a 10 years later episode.
Two very significant movies to our childhood.
I think
to your
so.
childhood and to my hood.
Yeah.
And now just turned 10 this year. And we thought, hey, this would be good. Let's double down.
Let's double down.
Let's double team them.
Let's double team these movies because it's a light news week, you know?
It is very light news week.
And,
That was sentence must.
Yeah,
Good.
100%. And, you know, it's 2020, 10 plus, you know, 20 was 2010. It's a nice time to celebrate, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll do the 20-year anniversary as well if we're still running.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
So today we're going to review or just look back on Inception.
Yeah.
And then Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Hell yeah.
And then we're just going to talk about Bill and Ted 3's trailer.
And the New Mutants, the first 2 minutes of the movie. It exists. I've seen the first 2 minutes.
And 10 years later, we'll actually get the movie.
Yeah.
It all ties in, baby.
It really does. No, we're going to have the trilogy by then.
This is a nostalgic
episode
because even New Mutants is nostalgic
I
at this
know,
point.
yeah. Remember when we first heard about it?
Remember when that movie didn't come out?
Yeah.
Like back in 2018?
Yeah, remember when we started this podcast and that movie was meant to be coming out around then?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was cool.
When we started this podcast, that movie was supposed to be already out.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so crazy.
And we're 52 episodes in.
I think this is going to be a very nostalgic heavy episode. You'll probably get some stories from
hyped.
us. Yeah, me too. Let's get into it then. So we're going to start with Inception.
Christopher Nolan's baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
We've been speaking about this a lot, talking about Christopher Nolan and as a director and
as a person, as a family man, as a friend.
As a friend, yeah.
Mostly as a friend.
Mostly as a friend. He is a very close friend.
Call him Chrissy.
Yeah, Chrissy. You're obviously very close with James.
James Gunn.
Gunny. Yeah, Gunny.
Jay Gunny.
But Chris is a friend of the show. And Chrissy.
Shout out to Chris.
Shout out to Chris. He always watches every week.
All right, Christy. He hates it when I call him
He
Christy.
does. He hates it. He's going to be on to you later.
He hates it like he hates digital film.
Him and Killer will be coming out later. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about Inception. It just turned 10. It's kind of scary that is 10 years old.
Oh, it is crazy. But we were saying that when you look at Christopher Nolan's filmography and someone's like, what is the most Christopher Nolan film?
And what a healthy filmography that is, by the way.
It's pretty amazing.
So it's hard to kind of go, what is the quintessential Christopher Nolan movie that represents his style?
Yeah, like you would never recommend A Dark Knight.
And we love that movie. And it could be my favorite of all his movies.
Me too.
But I'm biased because it's a Batman movie as well.
Yeah, of course. Like it has my money already.
But that's why it's not a great representation of his style. Yeah. Because it's got those boundaries, it's got those limitations. Because you have to be somewhat respectful to the source material.
Yeah, and yet it feels like he is limitless, which is so crazy. When you watch that movie, it's like, oh yeah, he clearly could have done anything.
He can do what he wants, and then you're like, he's a genius.
He's a genius. Whereas Zack Snyder does what he wants, and you're like, I don't like this.
What are you doing?
Except obviously Snyder Cut's going to be amazing. But anyway,
it's going to be excellent.
Yeah. R.I.P. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. I'm blocking him.
Oh yeah, and for anyone who's listening, we have a Nightwing figurine.
Yeah, and a Batgirl figurine. No doubt she's been shot in the head in Zack Snyder's universe.
And Connor's wearing
I do.
a Nightwing t-shirt.
I've been waiting for this for a very long time.
And he is dead in the DCEU, and he's also Connor's favourite character.
He is.
And Zack Snyder didn't even address it in... Well, he did address it in the movie.
Yeah.
Slightly.
He addresses it like someone asks you how your ex is doing. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, she's doing fine.
Yeah,
you know?
I guess,
yeah, he's dead. He died.
Dead.
He was the first one to die. Yeah, I think we brought it up on every episode in the last ever since the Snyder Cut's come up.
I just love throwing salt in your wound.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, we were thinking Inception is the best representation of Christopher Nolan and his style.
Because Interstellar, for everything it does, I suppose it's very Christopher Nolan.
It's Inception in space to a degree, you know the way, and it has the whole time thing.
Yeah.
A planet, like the time moves differently per planet and all like that.
We're gonna spoil a number of movies in this,
especially Inception.
And
if
Scott
you haven't
Pilgrim.
seen it, your life has no currency to me, and the same as Scott Pilgrim versus the world, and we can't be friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're what's wrong with the world today.
You are 100%. You and
it's a movie podcast.
You and all the rest of people. But it's 10 years, so you should have seen it by now. That's our rule for this episode.
Yeah, definitely.
But we're like, it is probably the most quintessential Christopher Nolan film. It's
because
it's all-star cast.
But when you're saying like Batman is a comic book movie, and Dunkirk it's a great movie.
It's a war movie though.
But it's a war movie.
Yeah.
So he's restricted by historical facts.
And Memento, I think, is restricted by budget.
Ooh, Insomnia
as well.
Make that
Prestige, he's getting there.
He's getting there. 40 million budget.
It's not a proven formula yet.
But Inception is like here's the reins.
Yeah.
Or he's taken off the leash and you go, run wild.
And how long was he writing it for?
Only 8 years.
Only 8 years.
Now, he wasn't sitting at a desk for 8 years. He was making other movies, but he was picking at it for 8 years.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why he got funding, because at the time, 10 years ago, 2010, this movie cost 160 million.
Yeah.
It was an original movie. No movie gets 160 million.
No.
By the way, Tenet got a 205 million budget. Show me another original movie getting a 205 million budget right now.
There isn't one.
There isn't one. There actually isn't one
really
because
isn't.
it's Christopher Nolan and that's what he does. It's an event. Every movie he makes is an event movie.
Yeah, because he doesn't shoot on digital.
Because it's Christopher Nolan and he's making a movie.
But it's the same way where he was just chipping away at the script, maybe finalizing things and figuring it out. Same way I'm just chipping away at writing stand-up, and eventually, hopefully by 2030, I will have done it eventually.
And same thing for me, but with life in general. I'm just picking away
at life.
Yeah, it's going to get better soon.
One day, eventually.
One more hammer curl.
It'll all come together.
Click.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen your progress pics. There's only a few more hammer curls left until you're...
baby.
Yeah.
Then I'm a better person.
Yeah.
Does that mean people respect me then?
100%
yes.
No.
God damn it.
People are more jealous of you.
Tear me down.
People are more jealous of you, 100%. Yeah. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Sure. I'll take that.
No, 100%. But that breeds resentment. Jealousy breeds resentment.
I don't mind that though. I don't mind that.
Resentment leads to hate. Yeah. Hate leads to suffering.
But Inception is the Christopher Nolan movie. I think it's the best representation of his body of work or his style, and also Tenet looks like a spiritual sequel.
Kind of does, but it has everything. It's Hans Zimmer scoring. It's an all-star cast. He's working with his cinematographer. What's the name?
Wally Pfister.
Wally Pfister, and he worked with him with how many movies?
Wally Pfister Harder.
Wally Pfister Harder. Wally Pfister Harding. Yeah.
Wally Pfister, that was, I think, he's worked with him 7 times altogether. He did the whole Dark Knight trilogy with him before Wally Pfister went off to be an unsuccessful director.
Yeah. Well, listen.
He made Transcendence.
Yeah,
okay, it's a bad movie.
It
but
is,
with Cillian Murphy,
I felt
he worked with Cillian Murphy many times.
Exactly. I felt like I got a Pfister when I watched that movie.
I like it.
Nice. But yeah, it's like the most... Yeah, it's okay. It's high concept. It's a thriller.
Super high concept, high budget,
thriller.
great acting.
Yeah.
An intellectual thriller, as I was thinking. I think that's his brand.
Yeah.
To an extent. Look at Tenet.
Yeah, I know.
Intellectual thriller.
We're kind of jumping all over the place with this, but I think it's going to be very free flow when we talk about this movie. We should mention that during that writing process, he had a bit of help from everyone and different inputs.
Well, Leonardo DiCaprio supposedly came in after, by the way, other people turned down the role. Brad Pitt turned down the role.
Will
Smith, or at least they were in mind at one point.
And that affected casting.
Yeah, because they were much older than Leonardo DiCaprio. They're both almost, I know Brad Pitt's around 10 years older, and I'd say...
And looks about 50 years younger.
I know, it's stupid. It's actually stupid. Fuck you, Brad Pitt, but I love you. And Will Smith's, around 6 or 7 years older, I'd say, than
something like that.
Leonardo DiCaprio. So once they decided Leonardo DiCaprio was going to be the man, the team had to be younger then, just so it made it more convincible that hey, this guy can lead the team. He has to be a bit older, he has to have more of an edge in the story to him. So that's why Tom Hardy's a bit younger. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Ellen Page.
Who's the Indian actor?
Cillian Murphy even.
Cillian Murphy's quite... Who's the Indian actor in it? I don't even know his
Yusuf,
name.
That guy.
Yeah,
Yusuf,
the guy who plays Yusuf.
The the medicine
The
man.
drug lord.
I don't know.
The Indian drug lord.
I'll get his name up now.
Yeah. He's like the one I always forget in the team, which is terrible to say.
Dilip Rao.
Dilip Rao. It's just because he's like...
There's a name there. Dilip Rao?
Dilip Rao. Yeah. Dilip Rao. He's good. He's likable, but like he's easily the most forgettable of the crew, unfortunately.
Yeah, but
he's in the first part.
He's a good van driver.
Oh, totally.
He's a fucking savage van driver. So so Leo then came in and he actually helped make it more of a digestible movie, because I can imagine Christopher Nolan just having all these images on the wall and this crazy Bible, of like, this is how dreams work in my movie.
And he's like, I get it. And Leo's like, no one else gets it.
Yeah, let's make it a blockbuster.
Yeah.
And supposedly he spent around 2 months on and off, Christopher Nolan and Leonardo DiCaprio, and Leonardo DiCaprio just kind of helped make it the movie that it is. It's digestible.
It's the accessibility to it.
And it's still not digestible to some people.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the criticism levied at this movie is that it explains too much and it's incomprehensible at some points, which I disagree with. But I
disagree with, but I understand.
I totally understand.
Like, the first time I watched this movie, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand it to a certain extent, but at the same time, there's definitely the nuances, there's finer details that I don't fully understand, but they're the details that you don't necessarily need to understand to enjoy the movie.
It's like, I really enjoy this movie, but boy oh boy, it feels like work sometimes, where you're like, I'm studying this and I need to understand it to move on. And
you appreciate that.
Totally.
It's done. It's that type of movie, but done well.
Yeah, exactly.
Where there's other movies where you're like, I don't even care.
Yeah, don't even care. Why? What explanation do you have? Don't give a fuck.
I have to work for this? No thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. But it makes sense why Leo would come in and help write those bits, because his job in the movie is to explain to Ellen Page, who is there to be explained to, really. Yeah. But it's but at the same time, it's not one of those movies that just explains things. The concept is, we never explained the concept of Inception, but everyone has heard of this movie. Yeah, it is basically, people can go into dreams and they can steal things from the dreams, like important pieces of information.
It's a bunch of lazy guys that are just sleeping on the job.
Going into people's
Head
minds,
full of dreams,
stealing stuff. And there is this concept called Inception, where you put an idea in someone's mind and it takes hold and it becomes reality.
But
basically,
it's supposed to be almost impossible.
It's almost impossible
because people are very aware that it's not their idea, even in a dream.
Yeah, so you have to make sure that they feel like it's their idea.
You got to wrap it up in a really good setting and a good piece, like a piece of work that. Go on, sorry.
No. So that they don't see through it, basically. Yeah. So Leonardo DiCaprio is charged with putting together like a heist team to put something in a vault.
Yeah, it's the Dream Bandits.
Yeah, Dream Bandits.
The Dream Bandits, and it's a reverse heist movie. So they're putting that block of gold into the safe. They're sneaking in to add more money to it.
But
would it be called Outside Man then?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah,
I don't know if that even works.
It does. No, I get it. But this is not a Spike Lee movie. It is a Christopher Nolan movie.
There'll be a moment where Leonardo DiCaprio's on a treadmill.
On a treadmill, just going through. That's how he goes deeper into the dream, because you see his eyes close and then he wakes up in the next part of the dream.
Yes, I love it.
I could be Spike Lee.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's why he ends up recruiting Ellen Page, and she is meant to be the architect.
The architect.
So this
designs
the dreams. And I wrote here, I had this little rant to Ian when I was watching, that Ellen Page is a better version of Siri from Black Panther. So if you know the show, I always have a problem with Siri as a character, because they're like, she's smarter than everyone, and then she is smarter than everyone, which is inherently fine, but she never struggles.
No, not even that she doesn't struggle.
Yeah.
But the characters that we've grown to love over 10 years,
she
makes fun of.
She makes fun and dismisses, and I'm like, I don't enjoy it.
And it's not Letitia Wright's fault.
No,
it's the writing.
It's the writing of the character.
You don't need to be like, hey, Bruce Banner, you knucklehead, you didn't think of this?
Yeah. Hello, McFly. Hello. That's basically
like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, it's Iron Man you're talking to. It's Tony Stark. Don't dismiss him.
Exactly. But in this movie, she is introduced as being better than Cobb, which is
at designing the dreams as an architect.
Designing dreams, but they go through a process of her having to learn and her not being so good and him having to show her.
And her never being condescending.
No.
If anything, she tries to help Cobb.
She tries to help, which is,
she's the only one who really knows what's going on with Cobb as well, and Maul.
And you end up liking her, which is what.
Time.
So when I was watching this movie, I was like, this is something that's lacking for that character, and if they could make her more like this, it goes a long way. For example, in Infinity War, if Bruce Banner had corrected her instead of her correcting him, that makes 10 times more sense, and it's far more endearing for her character.
Or they work together.
Well, they just work together.
They work together. She can still know a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can work together.
Yeah.
Don't make fun of the characters that we love.
She says something like, but we can't program the synapses to work connectively.
And she's like, do you ever think of the color red?
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah,
no.
Yeah. It's like we can't make them the color blue. She's like, well, we're gonna make them the color red, then, aren't we, idiot?
Like, oh, shit,
and he's like, oh man, I didn't know we could do that.
Mind is blown. I don't know what's going on now.
Oh, turn into Hulk now.
I'm an idiot. I'm gonna watch an Adam Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what you're saying about it explains too much.
Yeah.
I was saying to you, this is the movie that I know a lot of criticism is that it just takes the whole movie is just it's explaining itself.
Yeah.
But it's never dull.
No.
It's always interesting. Like Christopher Nolan never has a scene where they're sitting down to talk about something where the cafe doesn't explode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's always wrapped in an interesting scene where you're like, you know, the worst thing is when you're watching the movie and you're like, I'm learning now.
Yeah.
But I'm supposed to be entertained. I don't want to be learning.
That
where
happens.
He entertains you.
Exactly.
So you're tricked into learning about what's going on.
But that's
and he's also teaching you his own bro science.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't give a shit about the science of dreams. I love how he's like, well, this is how dreams work for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm jealous of Christopher Nolan's dreams then.
Me too. Because he's like, you don't need to know how real dreams work. You need to know how my dreams work.
Yeah. It's like, okay.
Also, that's another, funny enough, we brought up Spike Lee. He doesn't trick you into learning history. He just shows you history, and he's like, this is the point in the movie where we're going to learn, like in Black Klansman, you know?
Yes, and you know that Christopher Nolan said that this whole movie could be a metaphor for filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's his own dream that he's projecting for people to watch.
Yeah.
So you're a part of his dream. So when you're an audience member, you're a part of his dream.
But that's why it plays into the fact that all their roles reflect filmmaking roles.
Yeah, they kind of reflect crew members.
Yeah,
almost.
you were telling me about this, and my mind was blown when I heard about this. And it makes so much sense.
So Leonardo DiCaprio is the director. Of course.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
He's the guy running the squad, we should say.
Yeah, Cobb. Dom Cobb.
Terrible name.
Because those two names work together.
Yeah.
Like Dom, there's like it's like Hebrew or something like that for like dreamer or something like that. The two words have different meanings because
that sounds great on paper, but when you think about it, terrible. Dom Cobb. Dominic Cobb.
Dom Cobb.
Yeah, Dom Cobb.
It's a bad name, but Cobb is a cool name.
Cobb's a cool name
with two B's.
Yeah.
You know, so Cobb is the director. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character is the producer.
Arthur,
yeah. Ellen Page is the production designer because she's the architect.
She's designing everything, yeah.
Tom Hardy is the actor because he's the forger.
Yes.
He's a trickster.
Basically, his ability in dreams is to play different people's roles because he inhabits their...
Yeah.
He can learn from the outside world and then make himself that character in a dream.
He's a sexy, charming man in this.
He's very charming. Is he gay? Is he not gay?
I think he swings both ways.
I think
he walks on both sides of the street, and I'm cool with it.
Yeah, me too.
Cillian
I'm into
Murphy
it.
is the audience because it's his kind of it's all for him.
Yeah,
it's all for him. And then in the end, I loved this. I never thought of this, but Ken Watanabe, and I hope that's how you say his name.
Yeah,
he's the studio because he's funding the whole thing. The whole project he's funding, like the studio.
And the director has to convince him in the end that the vision was worth it.
Yeah. I think that's excellent.
Me
I actually love that.
And I love the audience that the director is inciting an emotional reaction from the audience, thereby in Cillian Murphy.
Yes.
The whole idea is to get him to have this emotional connection, this beat, so that he will change his ways in real life, basically.
And also, it's forget about your reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go into this dreamland for a minute.
Well, this is what I wrote down because I took a few notes when I was watching this because it's such a dense movie and I knew we were going to talk about it. So I was like, I want to make a few notes to remember things. This gives you so much genuine catharsis for like real life traumas and events for the different characters but it's also mixed in with the fake because Cillian Murphy's isn't real catharsis.
It isn't real.
It's written by them.
But it's ultra resonating.
Totally.
Like it's the most beautiful scene.
Yeah.
I would argue that Cobb seeing his children at the end is not as beautiful as the scene where Cillian Murphy opens up that safe and he sees that paper windmill and he cries.
Yeah.
Cillian Murphy's an excellent actor.
Cillian Murphy is an excellent actor.
Top list.
Apparently he got his pick of role in this movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like obviously Christopher Nolan wasn't like you can play anybody, but he was like of the secondary like he's like anyone but not Cobb pretty much I'd say or Maul.
Leo's cast.
I want to play Maul.
Yeah, he's like Leo's been cast, so you can pick whoever you want, and he's like, oh, I want to be this guy, and apparently he's perfect for. He really liked the actor who was playing his father. I can't think of the actor's name.
He's an Irishman, isn't he? He only passed away a few years ago.
He did, but Cillian Murphy says he was kind of an inspiration for him growing up, so it was nice they got to have such an emotional scene together. Peter Postlethwaite as Maurice Fisher, Robert's father. Because he's Robert Fisher. His character is Robert Fisher.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying...
But basically, the whole thing that I wrote is... they give you both fake catharsis and genuine catharsis for like real things. Like we discover that Cobb is the reason that his wife committed suicide in real life and everything.
That's dark.
It's dark.
It's so dark. And you understand why he did it.
Totally.
Because he wanted to wake up.
Yeah, basically
But this isn't the whole thing about Inception. Is that seed? If you can convince someone that's their own idea, it can spread like wildfire.
Lives.
You know that way.
She's like
you can be obsessed with it. It just grows and it fills your mind and you're consumed by it. And that's what happened.
But that's why he's
reluctant to do it.
Reluctant to do it, and also he's like he prefers positives as opposed to negatives because he introduced a negative thought in here. What if this isn't real? And that destroyed her as a person.
But also reluctant to do it in general. But also he knows
that it can be done. He knows it can be done, and it's his only way to get back to his family. But it's Christopher Nolan sort of saying, you know, our dream. This is all fake. So therefore, is the catharsis fake? Well, no. Dreams are just as important. It's important that these moments are happening. They just happen to be happening in a world that isn't real. And I just love that he's like, no, it's very important that you follow your dreams and everything, and that you can find genuine moments of understanding and everything in them. And it's like a very powerful message that I didn't really think about before. It's only when I've loved this movie and it's great and there's so many scenes in it that I love. But when you sit down and think about it, because we were going to talk about it, I was like, this is what was coming to my head.
And do you feel like, I don't mean to sound condescending, but you need to be a certain age to fully understand this movie?
Yeah, I agree, yeah. You can't be
it's so deep. There's literal layers. There's 5 levels to it. Also, they kind of resemble video game levels. I love that as well, especially when you hit the snowy snowy Alps.
Like, we're in the snow level, yeah.
Should we say what that level was inspired by? A movie that we've been celebrating for a while now.
The movie that couldn't even make Bond gay, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Yeah. That's what inspired the snowy Alps level of the dreams.
I will say a far better ski chase than that is in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But when you point it out, I totally see the inspiration.
And Christopher Nolan is a huge James Bond fan and has said that he would be willing to direct a James Bond movie as long as he was given free reign to begin again.
Which means maybe the next one. Maybe.
Well, we said, well, at least I definitely feel like I don't want him restricted to a James Bond franchise because there's only so much he can do. And I'm afraid Christopher Nolan almost could ruin it in a way as well.
Yeah.
Because if he's coming from the ground level, you know, he's doing the pilot episode.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be so different.
I know.
But let's just let him make Tenet type movies and Inception type movies.
Yeah.
I just want to see him and his brother like write some fantastical movie rather than being confined to the... And the studios are so protective of something like James Bond.
Oh, man.
It's a big deal. There's not many IPs like that around, you know that way?
Maybe Rocky. But even still, like, that's kind of been...
Yeah.
Not diluted or anything, because Creed are amazing movies, but you know what I mean. Like, it was a franchise that was tough to let go of, you know.
Big time, and also it's Stallone, and he kind of ruins every franchise.
He does.
You know,
he runs his franchises into the ground.
Like, we should do another Rambo. No, you shouldn't have done the last 2.
We should do Expendables again, but not make it R-rated. That's so weird, isn't it? It's like we're gonna do a movie that's just like an 80s action movie, but we're gonna make it PG-13 so that everyone can come see it. And that was the 3rd one, and it failed. And they're making a 4th one anyway. They're developing it. I know.
Anyway, back to Inception. I wanted to say that the film score is absolutely amazing,
breathtaking.
Could be I was going to say it could be Hans Zimmer's best film score, but he's got too many great ones.
Yeah,
he's got too many. Interstellar, I actually prefer the music than the film.
I think we agreed on this before. We kind of discovered that we were like, I think Interstellar has a better soundtrack than it does a movie.
And by the way, we both went to see Hans Zimmer live. We didn't even know each other.
No, before we knew each other.
We think we were at the same gig.
I'm convinced.
It was the same year. It could have been like a different show.
Yeah.
You know, either one day after another. But either way, we both went to see him. And it could have been the same night, which I think is amazing.
You knocked over Batgirl.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. She's a grappling hook. She'll get back up.
She can't even walk.
Yeah, exactly.
She has to be helped. She has to be helped up.
Yeah, she does, by Dick Grayson.
What I was going to say though is the Smiths guitarist plays the guitar in the film score, which I just think is excellent. And if you've heard Hans Zimmer talk about it, he's like, once he came in, I cannot do accents by the West, and now he's almost Japanese. But he
said, that Ken Watanabe talking?
Yeah, I think it is. But once the Smiths guitar started playing, he was like, oh, that's who I'm composing for.
Yeah.
God, Hans Zimmer, you amazing German man.
He's such a
German man.
He is, but he loves music as well, and he loves music.
He's adorable.
It's like he's a composer, but he loves the Smiths. It's like,
and also, if you watch him live, he wants to be a rock star.
He so wants to be a rock star.
I love that. Junkie XL is the same, but now he came from doing gigs and all like that. Anyway,
also in his name, like Hans Zimmer is such a respected name, but like it's
a dynasty. At this point, it's a film scoring dynasty.
Oh, totally.
To have his name attached to your movie.
And when you see a Christopher Nolan film, you're like, so Hans is doing it, obviously, because that's going to be amazing. But we watched him perform Time. That's one of the main themes from this.
That's the main one, right at the end when everything's crumbling and they're what did he call it when they're
limbo? Oh, the kick.
The kick. There we go. When all the kicks are going down the lines.
Yeah,
Time is playing.
Time.
Glorious piece of film
4
scoring.
notes, as you pointed out to me.
Well, I think it's like 4 chords.
4 chords.
I think there's maybe not 4 chords, but maybe like 6.
Okay.
But it's mainly just the same chords, rotated.
Yeah.
Rotating over and over again, which is so not what film scoring is.
No.
Usually it constantly changes, it modulates and modulates again. It modulates in different ways.
Yeah.
The motif will play, but it'll be played, oh, this time it's a cello. Oh, this time it's a trumpet. Oh, this time the motif has a little different note in there and all like that. Where this is just like building. It's the same chords. It's just building and building. And it's so simplistic when it comes to film scoring. And it's glorious.
It is. And in the live version we watched, Hans Zimmer comes out playing the electric guitar, playing a more complicated version.
Of course, because he's a rock star.
Because he wants to be a rock star.
And of course, because the Smiths guitarist played it, so he's like, oh, I'm a rock star too.
Yeah.
I have a few bits of trivia if you don't mind me jumping in.
Listen, this podcast is just going to be a celebration, so we're just going to throw lots of stuff out there.
I wanted to say that Marion Cotillard, is that how you say her name? I think you say sexy when you do the French accent.
Marion Cotillard? I don't think
there we go.
Right.
What's crazy is she played Edith Piaf in La Vie en Rose and won an Oscar in 2007.
Yeah.
Funny enough, that's the song, the No Regrets song that's that's used throughout the whole film.
Yeah.
Like just 3 years beforehand, she won the Oscar for playing that.
It's so cool.
Woman.
It's what they use to cue the kick. So because when you play it in their ears, they can hear it.
You can hear it.
And I love when it gets so deep. Tom Hardy has this great line where they're like four layers deep at this stage, and he's like, "Do you hear that? I thought it was just the wind 20 minutes ago, but it's actually the song." And I'm like,
yeah, because it's so
cool.
slowed down, you can barely make out the notes.
Yeah,
and I just think it's such a cool thing that Marion Cotillard actually played the woman who sang that song.
Yeah,
and she's also the first actress or actor in general to win an Oscar for a French language movie, which I just think is cool.
It's great.
And she's married to Leonardo DiCaprio in this movie, who also has an Oscar. Like, what a film dynasty! Like, what a family right there.
Also, how many Oscars should Leonardo DiCaprio have won? Let's be honest. Yeah, he should win one for every performance. Also, what I noticed in this movie is I think this is the sexiest Leonardo DiCaprio there is.
I think you're right. Once he has the leather gloves on, for me, which is at the start of the movie,
at the start,
I'm like, damn,
he's in
Leo.
the tux. He's in
damn.
Yeah, because you know
what's eating Gilbert Grape? This guy.
Nom 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 nom. Turn into a ball hog for Gilbert Grape.
I actually like that one.
Yeah, that was good. Put that on a t-shirt.
This guy.
Yeah,
he is a sexy
just
man.
Your face going, I'm eating Gilbert Grape.
Yeah, exactly. Well, fast forward to The Revenant, you're like, Jesus, he's a haggard motherfucker now.
No, but if you look at it, it's like he looks like Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's in good shape. And he's like, you know, it's
hair slick back.
Yes, hair slick back. Oh, I just smashed the mic. But
beautiful suits.
Beautiful suits.
And the simplistic suit is the black and the white.
Yeah, and he's in his 30s as well, so it's like peak time.
I think he's around 35.
Yeah,
making this as well.
So that's peak. People would say Wolf of Wall Street, but I would argue he's got jet black hair. He's playing a character. Can't be him, you know?
Yeah. It's just he's funny in that. That's the difference. But no, I agree. Inception is peak Leo.
Yeah.
Peak Leo.
He's a charisma magnet in Wolf of Wall Street, which can blind you. But in this, he's great as well in this.
Of course. He's great in everything.
This movie has like one of the scariest suicides I've ever seen on screen, which is when Mal kills herself.
Jesus!
Yeah, Jesus Christ! I love it.
It gets me so bad.
It's terrifying. Because she's there and then she's gone.
And it's because she's so intense.
Yeah.
She is an amazing actress.
She's killing it in this role.
You know, she's really... she really embodies that bitches be crazy kind of sentiment.
Yeah.
But now it's his mind, and
Yeah.
it's what he envisions, because of course last time you seen her,
Yeah.
she was destroying their family, committing suicide, and she was psychotic by the end of it.
But even he says,
and it's because of him.
Yeah, well, even he says it's not her that he's seeing. He's forgotten what she's like. This is his guilt manifested in this
Yeah, of
vicious
course.
version of his wife.
But also, when guys say bitches be crazy, the next question usually is, but what did you do?
What did you do?
And that's
Exactly.
the question for Leo right there.
It's like when you watch Gone Girl, and then it's like, oh man, this bitch is crazy, and then you realize, oh well,
what you do? Oh, you just cheated on her? Oh,
Yeah.
that's not actually as bad as
yeah,
what she's
that's not
doing.
as bad as
She's
what she's
fucking
doing.
crazy.
Yeah, she's crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Rosamund Pike, though. She'd be crazy all over my face if she wants to.
Hell yeah, while you're eating Gilbert Grape.
Hello.
Now it's a party.
I also had some box office trivia.
Oh, your favorite and my favorite. I love hearing you talk about box office.
let
trivia.
me get
You haven't
into
got
it
to
for a
do it in
second.
so long. Box office has been
Why?
closed.
I've been jonesing for a bit of
Yeah.
box office.
Give me some box office.
So, of course, this movie cost 160 million to make, and we were making the big deal about how, hey, Warner Brothers or any film studio don't really give films that are wholly original that sort of budget, especially 10 years ago.
Also, this film was marketed to death. It was all over the place. So easily 320 by the end of it with
But
the
get
marketing
this,
budget.
right?
Yeah.
So their investment paid off so much that it was the highest grossing original movie of that year.
Oh.
So isn't that so cool?
Yeah.
So it definitely paid off, and also it was. I wanna just make sure this is correct. I think it was the fourth highest grossing movie of 2010, and now we relate that to Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah.
Which is on the other end of the spectrum, not quality wise.
No.
But box office revenue wise.
Yeah.
It got
Right at the-
destroyed. It was a bona fide bomb.
It was a bomb, which is awful to hear because...
Yeah, fourth. So if you I think this is fantastic, and it just shows how it pays off to fund a high budget Christopher Nolan original movie. So it's the fourth highest grossing movie of the year, and the first highest grossing original movie of the year. And number one is Toy Story 3. And number two is Alice in Wonderland, which was also like the first live action Disney remake, and it was like the second 3D movie to come out, the first one after Avatar.
And Tim Burton.
And Tim Burton and Johnny Depp at his height of fame. And then the third one is the second last Harry Potter.
Which I went to see in the cinema.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And then it's Inception.
Yeah.
And even if you look at the top 10, you've got Iron Man 2 in there. You've got How to Train Your Dragon. Now, it's the first one, but it's an adaptation of a book.
Well, and it's also a children's movie. I mean,
You
it's
got the fourth Shrek. You've got
the second Iron Man.
Yeah, and Twilight. I don't know if that's the Twilight Eclipse. I don't know if that's
Is that the last one?
I don't think so. Is
Or
that
is
like New Dawn or Breaking Dawn? I think it's the second one.
Dawn of
I think it's
Justice.
like the second one. But either way, the only original movies in the top 10 of that year is Inception, Tangled.
Kind of, but that's Rapunzel.
It's Rapunzel, and it's also got the Disney princess vibe about it. You know that way. So like, it's a thing.
And
it's already a thing.
Zachary Levi.
Yes. Yeah. And then you have Despicable Me,
Yeah.
the first one, but also it's a kids movie.
That first one is really good.
It's very fun.
Yeah, it goes down the drain pretty quickly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know,
I like that first
either
one.
way, I just love how it shows
Just how great Inception is.
Yeah, and how well it actually did well in the box office. And it's just funny when you compare the quality to its success box office wise.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Where you go to Scott Pilgrim versus the World,
man.
quality as high as they come.
Yeah.
And box office so damn low that it didn't even break even without marketing added in.
Oh man, it's a real tragedy what happened to that, but we'll get into this later.
So I just thought that was an interesting fact.
That's awesome. That's such a great snapshot of a box office, you know. Also, no wonder Christopher Nolan has such big dick energy and is like, you're putting my movie out in a cinema because my movie's destroying cinemas.
And let me create my own trailers.
Yeah.
And let me create my own marketing
Let me
campaign.
do my own thing, you know
and
why?
how about you sit the fuck down,
sit
Warner
the fuck
Brothers?
down.
I got the reins.
Yeah, I love that. Everyone's like, the studio involvement always ruins movie, whereas Christopher Nolan's like, studio just gives me money and I do whatever I
Studio,
want.
you mean my best friend?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
gives me whatever
They're
the
not
fuck
his
I
best
want.
friend. They're his bitch.
Yeah, true. The thirsty girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We're gonna release Tenet. Oh, by the way, Tenet like stricken from the release calendar.
I know. Yeah, it's off the release calendar.
And I fully understand why Warner Brothers are not releasing it because of 205 million budget plus over 200 million marketing.
Yeah.
So they're fully invested in it. So you kind of have to, you gotta give them props for even spending that sort of money on it in the first place.
But then you look at these numbers and you're like, totally makes sense.
It makes sense. It really does. So yeah, that was my bit of trivia that I just liked that it paid.
Yeah,
you know, it paid off to the investment in it.
Did this win any awards?
It did. It won 4 Oscars.
4 Oscars.
I'm glad you brought it up. All for like the grafting. The grafting. You know, like there's no performance kind of rewards. It's all like sound editing. I'll get it up here.
Do you think any performances in this movie are Oscar worthy?
No. I actually don't.
I don't think so either.
And I think they're fantastic.
Me too. I think,
but it's that type of movie where the concept could win an Oscar.
Totally. Yeah. Screenwriting? Did it win screenwriting?
No, it didn't. And that is the thing. I'll show you. I have
Best
it here.
original screenplay,
right.
sorry.
Cinematography.
Yeah.
Sound editing.
Totally get it.
Sound mixing.
100%.
Visual effects.
Why? Why would it get visual effects? It's a terrible looking movie.
No. Isn't this good? Visual effects. Yeah. Isn't Scott Pilgrim great as well?
I know, yeah.
But it's a different kind
Totally
where it's like, hey, these are fake and we're fine with that.
I mean, look, you put these movies next to each other, you kind of got to give it to Inception, you know?
You do, because it's different. It's a different type of tone.
But if we're talking about a perfect tone to movie, that will hold up forever. Scott Pilgrim.
Of course. But like there's, as we were talking about, Wally Pfister actually won an Academy Award for this movie.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And we were only talking about, like, what do you think of when you think of Inception? The city folding.
City folding over on each other. Or the mirrors, depending.
It's so iconic though, isn't it? Like the city folding over. So iconic. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, exactly. You look at Doctor Strange, it's like Doctor Strange copying Inception. Yeah. I love that, like, this movie, I remember this, and I'm going to say the phrase that I often say, permeated the zeitgeist so much that...
I do like that sentence.
It is. It's a good sentence. But, you know, like, Inception is just something people know now. It's such a pop culture thing.
It seriously is.
Dude, this is almost as confusing as Inception. 5 years after that movie, we were still getting comedy movies talking about Inception or everything.
I do appreciate South Park where they're like, just because it's complicated doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that joke, even though I love the movie.
Yeah, me too.
Because it is extremely complicated. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any bit of trivia.
You know what movie is complicated but isn't necessarily good? Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
It put me to sleep.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It was one of those movies where I was looking around. I went to see it in the cinema and I was like, is everyone else... You know, I see one guy that's really invested in the movie. I'm like, he's smarter than me.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
He's a better person than me.
There's a perfect... I think
is he a doctor?
Yeah. I think Inception is a good blockbuster. I don't think it's...
It's a great blockbuster and it made bank, you know, over 800 million. I just wanted to say this is such like random trivia, but I told you about this. So in the level that's all in the hotel, like if anyone who can't think of the hotel, it's the part where, like, you know, when it's rotating with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's fighting the guy,
sexy waistcoat and pants,
doing all but one stunt.
Yeah,
he did himself. But
3 weeks of work to go into that.
Just for that rotating scene.
Yeah.
But it becomes like there's an anti-gravity scene at one point, and I thought it was amazing that this is so simple. This is just good thinking. That the reason why Ellen Page's hair is in a bun is because the production team didn't want to work with her hair loose in an anti-gravity scene, because then they'd have to use CGI hair to simulate it floating around. And I just love how it's so simple to be like, hey, let's just scrap that all together. Put it in a bun and we don't have to worry about it.
Is that why all the guys have slick back hair?
I don't know. But it makes so much sense to her.
Doesn't it?
It's just like, you know what? It could look weird.
Yeah.
And we're just going to waste time on this. And you know, Christopher Nolan's like, CGI, fuck off out of my movie.
Yeah.
I thought that was such a simple approach to that scene. And I don't know. I just love that. It's one of those things where you're like, yeah, it makes it better.
Yeah, it does make it better.
It makes it better. It's so simple.
Imagine how it would take you out of the movie.
How are we going to do her hair?
You know what?
Let's just not do it.
You know what it is? It's the fucking...
Shave her head.
It's the fucking Mary Poppins moment in The Last Jedi. You know? Where Leia goes out the window and it's like, we're going to CGI her floating back in. It's like, guys, come on, there's a better way of doing that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's other examples, but that one just comes to mind right there. So this movie is basically a long con. It's like The Sting, if The Sting was super complicated, you know? But, which is, by the way, one of the oldest film themes, basically. The thriller, the crime caper and everything.
Sure, yeah.
And we were talking about it, and it's like, I like the fact that they complicate it, but they also use genuine con man techniques in it, which is so fun to watch, you know? Like, when they go to the second layer, they start running a play that they've done before. Again, love that they have plays.
Isn't this when Cillian Murphy starts getting wise to the situation?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is the hotel?
They're in the hotel
kind of setting.
They take the information they use from the first part, which is his wallet costs a certain amount. You know, he has a bad relationship with his father. They reference different things and they use it to convince him he's in a dream, which is a play they've run before.
Yeah.
But they also do this really little things, and I've only noticed it from watching it so many times, where he's talking about it and he was like, you accept you're in a dream and I'm here to help you. It's little things like that. This is what Leonardo DiCaprio says to him.
Remember your training.
Remember your training.
That was the most deceitful thing for me, where I'm like, oh my God, I'd believe him.
Yeah.
When he's like, we've been over this. Remember your training.
Remember your training.
Like, he's a master manipulator.
Yeah. He's like, I'm a part of your subconscious that's here to help you. Remember your training. And it's so cool because he's like, Cillian Murphy is getting it, and I just love the subtle thing. I mean, he's like, first of all, accept you're in a dream and that I'm here to help you. He's asking him to accept he's in a dream, but subtly, right in there, into your subconscious, while you're working on accepting that you are in a dream, also into there, it's like, but I trust him.
I'm on your side.
I'm on your side.
I'm on your side.
Yeah,
and then he's fighting his own subconsciousness.
Yeah. And the fact that it's just, they're conning him in a real life way in his dream. For example, you know, Tom Hardy goes up as a hot blonde and steals his wallet, and Leonardo again says there's about a $500 wallet, isn't it? Again, building the trust from what they've learned before.
Also, just the idea that, like, they explain this in the movie when they're explaining everything, that your subconsciousness will put things in a safe. Like, if you have secrets, you'll just naturally put it in somewhere secure. Also, so they're always trying to break into something, which I love, and that's at the start with Ken Watanabe, and they're trying to break into a safe to find out the secrets. I just love the idea of, like, it's your own mind, you know, manifest it into, like, well, it has to go into a safe or somewhere like that.
But say you break into a child's mind, it might be a piggy bank. That's where they store everything, you know what I mean?
Of course, yeah, you're just thinking of the most secure location.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, what's the best place to hide something? Under my bed.
In my ass.
In my ass, yeah, exactly. You break into a prisoner's thing.
They realize halfway through the con, oh, we're trying to break into his ass.
Trying to break it in this guy's ass.
Get Tom Hardy in here.
Yeah. Tom, he's like, I have a little character who works very well in these situations. You have to dream bigger.
He's putting his gloves on.
Yeah. You have to dream bigger, darling. I love all that little thing. Again, Christopher Nolan, king of practical effects, puts the hand down, it's a machine gun, pulls it back up, it's a grenade launcher. So simple.
Hey, we should actually talk about the ending and what Michael Caine divulged.
Yeah.
So, there's been a lot of, I guess, speculation that the entire movie's a dream. Or, do you know what they say sometimes is when he tries the sedative that Yusuf gives him, and you know the way he sees Mal, and we get this, it's very scary for a moment, and then he wakes up, Cobb wakes up, and he's a little demented, and he gets his trinket, what did he call them?
His totem.
His spinny thing, and he tries to spin it, and it falls down, and he has to put water in his face. There was this concept that, or at least people were speculating that he never woke up from that dream, and the rest of it isn't just a dream within a dream within a dream within a dream.
Also, it's not his totem; it's his wife's totem. And he tells he tells Ellen Page, don't let anyone touch your totem, because if they fuck with it, that means they know as well, and it can mess up the dream. That's how he messes up his wife.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt, his totem is a loaded die.
It's a loaded die.
And he's like, no, I can't let you touch it to Ellen Page because it defeats the purpose.
Also, Leonardo DiCaprio, she makes a chess piece, and he's like, oh, let me see. And she's like,
and he's like, oh,
you're learning,
girl, you're learning.
I like it. But
so Michael Caine, though, now,
I'm confused.
This is 10 years later. He's like, here, Chrissy boy, what is this? Maybe this was before Leonardo DiCaprio got his hands on the script.
Yeah.
And he's like, here, Chrissy, I just don't understand what's going on here. And Christopher Nolan said to Michael Caine, every scene that you're in is reality.
Yeah.
It's reality. So at the end, Michael Caine's in the scene, and of course we get to see
his
children's faces as they turn around.
But you get the top that's still spinning.
He doesn't have his wedding ring on as well, because when he goes into Dreamland, he's got his wedding ring on. And we don't get to see the totem actually fall over when it's spinning, but it does quiver.
Yeah. Listen.
But I do love it. I actually really respect that ending where it's like, okay, you can make up your own mind if you want.
It's a beautiful way to end the movie, but I never for a second did I think he was still in a dream.
Me either, but at the same time, the ending for me says does it really matter?
No, it doesn't.
Because what's reality either way?
Yeah.
Like, you telling me what he experienced in those dreams didn't affect
real.
his real life?
Yeah.
The way he thinks, his personality?
Lived 50 years with his wife in a dream world. Of course that affected it.
How's he not the crazy person?
She came back and killed herself. Like, that. This shit that happens in your dreams affects you. And that's the whole thing. The whole point of this movie, the whole point of Inception. What happens in your dreams affects real life. Yeah. And it's more true than people would like to admit.
Yeah.
There was another thing I wanted to say, and we were only talking about this earlier, is that no matter when you... First off, you have to do so much work to figure out what's going on in the movie.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying the ride so much, and you're with Cobb and everyone along the way, and you're enjoying it. But after watching it so many times, when it comes down to it, there's no way of looking at it and saying they didn't do a bad thing.
100% they did a bad thing.
They did a bad thing.
Tell me where you fully get the message that Cillian Murphy's a bad person.
Yeah.
His father, sure, could be a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, his father is a piece of shit.
Don't worry about it. He dead. But Cillian Murphy seems like a tortured soul. He seems like a kid that was deprived of his father's love and attention.
Mm-hmm. And his mother.
Yeah, and his mother. And he's tormented by this.
Yeah.
And he just lost his father, by the way. He's a good guy. Well, I assume he's a good guy. The movie doesn't make me believe that he's a bad person.
No.
And they fuck with him.
The movie tries to tell...
They fuck with him.
Ken Watanabe has the much like there's a throwaway line about how this technology originated, Ken Watanabe has a line where he says, we need to... I was about to do an accent. I'm not going to do it.
Damn, I was getting excited about it.
Yeah. He's like, we need to... This company... keeps going, they're going to have a monopoly on the energy in the world, and that's not good.
And moving right along.
It's like, oh, okay, so I guess...
Did I get that?
Guess we're kind of doing a good thing? Not really.
Now, buying an airline.
Yeah.
Off we go.
I bought the airline.
I thought it would be cleaner.
Yeah.
He's great. Something like... He's awesome.
Ken Watanabe is a sexy man as well.
And a Christopher Nolan regular.
Yeah, he is, yeah. I'd love to be a Christopher Nolan regular. If I could be a regular for anyone.
Or a one-timer, I'd still be happy with it.
I know. Like Leo.
Yeah, I'll take a one-night stand, baby.
Yeah. I mean...
They're doing a bad thing. Yeah, exactly.
They're doing a bad thing.
But Christopher Nolan, he's a sneaky bastard.
He is. He's like...
He wraps it in this beautiful, elegant, resonating moment.
Finally, he gets catharsis for his father. He realizes his father loved him.
Yes.
But he didn't.
They're tricking you.
They're tricking you the whole time. It's a trick.
They're manipulating you.
It's a trick.
Did it make Cillian Murphy a better person? I believe it did.
Yeah.
Or his character, I mean.
Yeah, it made him a better...
Maybe the acting role made him a better person too.
I think so. That's the thing. It does make him a better person.
Yes.
He dissolves the company, which leads to a monopoly, which is terrible, unless you're Disney, of course, who basically have a monopoly on the film industry now. But...
Do you tweet something? Off you go, fired. I know, we'll bring you back.
We'll bring you back in a few weeks. Don't you worry about it. But it's really interesting. Like,
it is like it 100% is a bad thing.
Yeah.
No matter how you look at it.
Yeah. And
bad guys.
I also appreciate, and this is the last thing I'll say on this movie, is that I get this movie 100%, and now it's a casual watch for me, which I appreciate. I like watching this movie casually.
You don't have to work anymore?
I don't have to work anymore because I know what's going on.
I got the same thing. Now, I've watched it many times. I'm not saying it took me one go.
No. God, no, me neither.
But the most recent watch of this movie, I went, I'm pretty sure I understand everything.
Yeah.
Just about.
So I can casual dip in and out, appreciate different things about the movie, and then I can move on, which is nice.
It's a masterpiece, I would say.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a masterpiece.
10 years later,
but again,
looking back on it, it doesn't age.
No,
it hasn't aged. It hasn't missed a beat.
No.
Even the effects are pretty damn good 10 years ago.
They are. And Christopher Nolan, practical effects king. Like, he did everything he could to make it practical.
There's a train going through a street. And
it's a tractor.
I read that as a tractor with a train body.
I got a brand new combine harvester. I'll show you the key. Yeah. I mean, we've sucked Gilbert Grape's dick on this
big time.
for a lot, but it's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
And if you haven't seen Inception, I'm going to come into your dreams tonight and put the idea in your head to watch it.
You're going to accept them.
Yeah, I am.
I like it. Yeah. Will we move on,
And then I'm going to put the idea in your head to subscribe to Straight to Series and check us out on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
God damn, you're good.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're on every platform.
Yeah, check us out.
Social media and podcast platforms. You can get us on iTunes. You can get us on SoundCloud. You can get us on Spotify. You can get us on everything else. Stitcher, iHeartRadio. And you can see our beautiful faces on YouTube as well.
You can see my new favorite t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, my statues that cost me money. And I really loved them, though, I have to say.
Oh, they're excellent.
Yeah.
And yeah, please subscribe.
Please.
And tell a friend if you enjoy this.
Tell multiple friends if you really enjoy it. You know?
Yeah.
Like an orgy, it only gets better with more people.
That's what I always say.
I've always
That's
said
what
it.
I always say.
Yeah.
And pick up after yourself. They're the two things I say when it comes to orgies.
2 rules of an orgy. Yeah.
The sweatier, the better.
Now, everyone make room around Gilbert Craig.
So, will we move on to Scott Pilgrim versus the World?
Let's
a piece
move on.
of trash.
Oh, terrible movie. As the world would like you to believe, but...
As the box office would like you to believe.
Yeah. Edgar Wright has never made a bad movie.
Nope.
And
he's never been attached to anything bad.
This movie is...
He's a beautiful man.
He's a wonderful human being. And...
No, he's a glorious filmmaker. He really is. Well, we say, right, so he made the Cornetto trilogy.
The Cornetto trilogy.
We got Shaun of the Dead. We got Hot Fuzz. We got At World's End. Is that what it's called?
The World's End.
The World's End.
It's the name of the pub. I was thinking about this. The World's End.
The World's End.
Which people would say is probably the weakest of all his movies, but...
Still a mighty fine movie.
I quite like it.
Baby Driver.
Yeah.
Nearly made Ant-Man.
Nearly made Ant-Man.
I think Ant-Man's a pretty solid movie, and I'd say the only bad stuff about it are the script parts that Paul Rudd and Adam McKay probably added to the movie.
Well, I really, again, like, Ant-Man is one of my favorite parts of the Avengers. Whenever he's in a scene, I'm like, this is awesome. Ant-Man's here.
It's Paul Rudd, isn't it?
It's Paul Rudd, and it's Evangeline Lilly as well.
Hey, Paul Rudd, you want to age?
Yeah. No problem, Captain America. Or is it
Mr. Captain America?
No, he just always calls him Captain America, and then he calls him Cap. And Evangeline Lilly, when she comes back as the Wasp, she calls him Cap, and he has that knowing look at her, and it's like, oh, this is so cool. But
Edgar Wright, just perfection. Like, and Scott Pilgrim versus the World is one of the most unique and fun movies to ever watch.
It is one of the most timeless movies you will ever watch.
There's not a frame wasted in this movie. If there's a shot in that movie, something interesting's happening.
It's not a short movie though either.
It's not. For what it is, it could be like a tight 90. Yeah. But this is like a tight hour 50 because there's so much goodness to it.
But I feel
I'll get the exact time here.
I feel like it is the culmination of a 7-volume manga. You know what I mean? It's
Even though technically it isn't.
Technically it isn't.
112 minutes long. So an hour and 52 minutes.
Yeah.
And this movie is pure solid.
It's high energy.
So good.
It's amazing.
Honestly, not a frame wasted.
No.
Like something's happening. There's something interesting happening all the time. It's so unique.
The more I watch it, the more I appreciate it.
Because it's kind of like Inception, but not Inception.
Yeah.
Like there's these tiny little fine details that you go, he's peeing himself in that scene.
Yeah.
Didn't even notice that.
Didn't even notice
that. I was
that.
too focused on Scott's face.
Yeah. You're gonna be cleaned up by the cleaner on Monday, because it's the weekend now, so she won't be here. But then she does.
You'll be dust by Monday.
You'll be dust by Monday.
Yeah.
And the cleaner comes then. She does.
Brandon Routh.
So
excellent.
The movie is based on a comic book inspired by a manga written by Brian O'Malley. And it was picked up in 2004 after Volume 1 released. It's a 7-volume manga. Wasn't even finished by the time the movie came out.
Edgar Wright read it before it officially even was released. He had like a pre-release because famous people get cool shit.
I know. Famous people get such cool shit. I'm so jealous of famous people.
I just realized you're a cool dude with a pen in your ear.
Oh, am I? I didn't even notice. I do that in work all the time. And
I know you do.
And people look at me as I walk down to like the canteen
and
where we eat.
I'm just grafting. You know, because it's a worker man thing where he takes out the pen, he starts writing on wood, going, it's 17 inches.
I've never worked in like a blue collar job before, so I just throw the pen behind my ear to make people think I have. But
some sort of ruggedness.
Yeah, add some ruggedness to my softness, my overall softness. But
hey, 2 abs.
Hey, 2 abs, yeah.
They popped out for a little bit.
They did, but they're back in now. Better than Batman's going. It's 2 of the 6 have shown up, so it's going well.
It's a 2 ab Tuesday.
Yeah, it's 2 ab Tuesday.
But it's a Saturday.
It's a Friday. Yeah, Jesus. Get your days right.
I'm sorry.
But yeah,
get your life right.
Oh yeah, well listen, that's more of a long-term problem, you know. But the movie was picked up even before the first volume came out. And Edgar Wright was writing it since 2004, and it only came out in 2010.
So Edgar Wright kind of directed the comic book, which is so weird.
It's so weird.
That's so strange.
I know, and
of course the comic book influenced the movie.
Yeah,
but the fact that the movie influenced the comic book as well is so strange.
Something you never see. That. No, exactly.
It's like a book that's being written and it gets picked up already halfway through, and then like the director is helping with the writing as well. Like it's so strange.
Robert Kirkman likes to say he would use the Walking Dead TV show to do stuff he wished he did in the comics.
Also, all the bad stuff.
All the shit stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
It's cool that you left it out of the comic books, but at least we get to watch it.
The comic's a masterpiece, and the TV show is a pile of dog trash.
Wasn't at first, though.
No, it wasn't. It had hope. I was hopeful, and then I became unhopeful.
And there was a little update that Andrew Lincoln's movie is still supposedly going ahead.
Man,
Because
Andrew Lincoln.
I care
so much.
Right?
So much.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
You're
it's
talking.
cool. But yeah, like, so this movie was being written alongside all the volumes, and in fact, the movie came out before the final volume, and the final volume features this big, massive battle that obviously that isn't in the movie, but still, it's like, you know, I was watching all these videos in preparation, and it's like, the differences between the manga and the movie, but when you watch the movie, like, they're pointing out the differences, but I'm like, but it's a perfect adaptation at the same time, because it takes 112 minutes and it encapsulates all the themes and everything great about the book, and just uses all the time it has to make the best adaptation possible, and there's no waste, you know?
Oh, not for a second.
Yeah.
But also, I read that it's. I've read a term. I'm probably getting it wrong, but like it's a transmedia film, because it's pretty much like 3 platforms. It's video. It's like a video. You're watching a video game / comic book, but it's also a movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's so strange, and all those elements. Like, put it this way, it's so hard to merge them and get it right, and it's so right. Like, it's perfection. This movie is just amazing.
The premise is
and this still hasn't. It's so unique. 10 years later.
Yeah.
You know, it hasn't been emulated yet.
No.
And I still think they could make a sequel.
Me too.
I know most likely they won't. They won't. But Bill and Ted 3 just happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would love to see I'd love to see a Scott Pilgrim sequel, but at the same time, I'd want it to do really well, and I don't know if it would.
Scott Pilgrim versus 2022.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Something. Oh, man. But the movie, basic premise of it is a guy who grew up loving pop culture finally becomes someone from the video games and manga he grew up, and he has to he falls in love with this girl, and he has to fight off her 7 evil exes.
This girl?
Ramona Flowers.
The quintessential indie girl.
The most alt girl that every guy had a crush on in 2010.
Guy. Like, she is the indie princess.
She is. Played by...
queen. She's more of a queen.
She is more of a queen. Played wonderfully by Mary Elizabeth Winstead in an early role for her.
Well, 10 years ago, when you think about it.
Yeah.
By the way... has she aged?
I don't think so.
Not at all. Not for a second.
Ewan McGregor saw that and he's like, I'm going to lock that shit down.
Come on, baby.
10 years from now, I'm going to lock that shit down.
Yeah.
His French wife is like, come to bed, Ewan. He's like, yes, but only for 9 more years.
Whoa.
But this movie is like, it's a who's who cast, which is insane.
It's insane. The fact that Chris Evans is just in this movie.
He's just in this movie.
Just came in before Captain America.
2011.
1 year later, Captain America came out.
Yeah.
And then he was a megastar. Like, I know he'd been in big movies before, but like, obviously Captain America was like,
that's like
lift off,
mega star.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Captain America in cinemas in 2011, and we had rented this movie, went home, watched it, didn't recognize Chris Evans in it, because I was like,
crazy.
Oh, yeah, I just didn't get it. And
superhero royalty. We also have Superman.
Yeah, Brandon Routh.
From the amazing Superman Returns.
And
by my kid's babysitter,
Brian Singer.
Yeah, good guy.
He's a good guy, yeah. He's so many costumes that he likes people to try on. It's great. The kids love it. But, yeah, and, you know, and this is before he had the amazing Superman Kingdom Come suit that he wears now.
Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
It looks like Brandon Routh in Superman Returns. This is like Brandon Routh has half digested that Brandon Routh.
Yeah.
And then when you see him in Arrow, it's like, oh, he's fully digested that one.
Also seeing him play bass and not being a jock, it's kind of weird because I'm like, hey, that look really suits him.
Yeah, it does.
With the bleached hair.
Bleach blonde hair.
And he's got the cool Zero, I think it's a Zero t-shirt with the skull.
And then he's got the white 3 as well.
And the bass. He's
the
a
power
fine
stance.
Man. I can sleep on his shoulders.
Yeah. We're going to get to the music, but we should keep talking about the cast while we're on it. You've got like Anna Kendrick in a bit part. Allison.
Before she was Anna Kendrick.
Just
before.
I think she's in the Twilight movie. Oh, yeah, she would be, because Twilight came out that year as well. She's in the Twilight movies. Aubrey Plaza, while she's still Parks and Rec.
Yeah, but she's still not Aubrey Plaza. Like,
no.
They got them just before took off.
Yeah.
Alison Pill.
Excellent.
Yeah,
she is.
He likes Alison Pill. Give her a red wig and some freckles, and
Yeah.
he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, man. Yeah. Alison Pill really does it for me in this. All the women in this movie are just like so unique and amazing. Even the guys.
Captain Marvel is in this movie.
Brie Larson in the highest red boots I've ever seen in my life.
Hello. I want a pair of those.
Playing Envy Adams. What a cool name.
What a sexy woman in that role. Isn't she like 19 in that?
She is. And also, she's really singing. We're going to get into the music, I should say. Everyone's really performing.
Kieran Culkin
should
be in everything. He's in nothing.
Yeah, he's hilarious in this movie.
He's amazing. He's his gay roommate.
He's playing like...
He's an alpha gay.
He's an alpha gay. He's such an alpha gay. And
he's a steal your man gay. That's what he is. I'll steal your man. I'll convert him. He's hetero?
Yeah. People are like, what do you like in a guy? He's like, I like it when he's straight.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he said. Yeah, he's awesome. And he's hilarious. He's so sarcastic.
Excellent.
He just everything he says is like a wonderful one-liner, and he also gives like really good pep talks, which is weird. Pep talks hidden with his own agenda.
Pep talks that will also put you down but make you feel good, but also you're like, you're a waster, get out of my room or his bunker,
Scott,
I guess.
You got to go out and fight for what you want.
Yeah.
Also, I'm kicking you out.
Yeah, I'm kicking you out. You got to move out, man.
You got to move out. Is there anyone else we should mention?
Jason Schwartzman as Gideon.
Yeah.
Hello, the most pretentious person that's ever lived. We watched interviews afterwards, and just the way he's sitting.
He's sitting like...
He's got a mustache. He's got a lip carpet.
I couldn't fit in this chair to sit the exact same way as him, but he's got like his legs up like this, and he just looks so casual, and it's like, you are like... He plays a douchebag in this, but I'm looking at him. You're a douchebag in real life too.
Yeah, and I also love that guy.
Yeah, he's
great.
He's great. I mean, a few more. Mark Webber, Stephen Stills. He's the lead singer. We don't see him in much. He's in Green Room, which is meant to be amazing.
Bill Hader as a narrator.
Yeah.
Before Bill Hader was Bill Hader.
I know. I love seeing Bill Hader. Like Bill Hader's in Superbad. He's in the opening of he is in Superbad.
He's the cop. With Seth Rogen, right?
Yes, he's in Pineapple Express. He's the soldier at the start of Pineapple Express. Yeah, you know the one they have trying the weed, and he's like,
no way.
Yeah, and I love seeing.
I'd have to see that again. I can't even picture.
I also have to see Skeleton Twins. Apparently, that's a great movie.
It is. I've seen that. Kristen Wiig. He plays a gay dude, and he's a suicidal gay dude.
Yeah,
he's really good.
I've heard it's amazing.
Thomas Jane just has a bit role. He's half of the vegan police.
There's so many superheroes in this movie.
So this movie, they got it so right because veganism is such a big deal now. Where it's like, oh well, we're extremely virtuous and we're better than you because you're not vegan and I am vegan. And they make this. It's just excellent. It's before its time, really.
Yeah, they give like Dragon Ball level superpowers to Todd. It's Todd, isn't it? Todd's. Yeah, it is Todd. That's who. What's his name? Brandon Routh plays.
Brandon Routh
Todd.
Plays, yeah.
Todd Ingram. Isn't that his name?
Todd Ingram. Yeah. It's crazy, but also it's Michael Cera's best role ever.
It totally is.
Far.
Shout out two more people. Satya Baba plays Matthew Patel. He's the first X and yet still incredibly memorable.
Scott Pilgrim.
And he's like
before it goes all Bollywood for a minute, and he does his little music piece.
Me and my fireballs. Ellen Wong. I don't think I've seen her in anything else, but she plays.
I'm sure she's in stuff, but we don't know.
No, Knives Chow.
Knives Chow. I love at the end where he's like, "Chow knives."
Chow knives. Yeah. I know. It's
like such an easy joke.
Yeah.
But because they keep it till the end, I'm like, it's amazing.
That's awesome.
And by the way, we should. Well, first of all, Knives Chow is actually older than Michael Cera in this movie, but she's playing his 17-year-old girlfriend. The whole thing is that he's 22, isn't he?
22.
And she's 17, and she's a schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And I love.
She's literally a Catholic schoolgirl.
A Chinese Catholic schoolgirl, and they're like, Alison Pill's like, wait,
are you serious, Scott?
He's like, yeah, with the uniform and all. And he's like, he loves it.
She's like, with the uniform and all. He's like, yeah.
If your life was a face, I'd punch it. Isn't that what he's like? Wait, what?
yeah. It's awesome. And she had to audition 3 times to get the role. And
she is magnificent.
She's perfect.
Playing a 17-year-old turned up to 11.
She's such a 17-year-old in love for the first time. Obsessed.
That's so awesome.
Obsessed with this older guy because he's in a band and he's older and everything.
It's so cliche and it's perfect.
And
she's got highlights.
Yeah.
What happens to those highlights?
He punched the highlights out of her hair.
He punched the highlights out of his hair.
Young Neil. A joke on Neil Young.
And says things twice.
Which is hilarious. Johnny Simmons plays him. But
here, he ended up with Knives Chow at the end of the original... Well, at the end of the movie that they originally filmed.
Yeah.
I got that sentence so wrong.
You did.
But the original ending of the movie...
Scott Pilgrim and Knives Chow get together in the original ending.
Yeah, and the test audiences balked at this idea because, like, he's after fighting 7 evil exes.
Yeah.
Can he not get with
Ramona Flowers
at the end?
Also, Brian O'Malley kind of said it is kind of a slap in the face to not have them get together. Yeah. Also,
do you know what? It makes sense at the same time because Ramona Flowers is a bad person.
But so is Scott Pilgrim.
The only Knives Chow is a lovely person who's just 17.
Yeah, she's amazing, and it's exactly that. She says at the end, "I'm too cool for you, Scott." It's totally true. She's way too cool for him.
You can so see where the reshoots start because
I know.
Do you know the reshoots were done 3 months
before the movie was released? It's insane,
crazy.
Yeah.
And do you want to get into the secrets?
Yeah, let's get into the secrets.
Because I love this.
Yeah.
The only one that I really know is that Ramona Flowers wears this necklace, but it's actually a shoelace.
Yeah.
And you actually know the story of who came up with the secrets originally.
Basically, Brian O'Malley sent these when they were working on.
I know you said it before, but he's the comic book writer.
He's the comic book writer, and he sent these crib sheets to the cast and to the writers, basically just things about the character to help them get into it. It wasn't meant to be taken that seriously.
Yeah.
And then the screenwriter, I wrote his name down so I could call him out for this.
I should have it here as well. Screenplay Michael Bacall.
Yeah, and Edgar Wright. They took this and turned it into 10 secrets and gave it to each character.
And no one else knew these secrets.
No.
So Ramona Flowers is actually wearing a shoelace from her deceased brother.
Yeah.
So if you think about the movie where she moves from New York to Toronto to start over, she says it's because of her exes and just her past life.
Yeah.
But also, she lost her brother and it's never mentioned.
And
it's a beautiful sadness and a nuance to give a character that is never referenced, but once you know that secret, you see it in her eyes.
It informs the entire movie. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead was picked, Edgar Wright says, because she's such a lovely, bubbly person. She plays that role so well, and he wanted her to play someone who'd lost that.
Got
and
those manga eyes.
She has Ramona Flowers eyes. There's a screen test that the two of us are obsessed with. Let's not get into it, but my God.
She flirts with the camera, and I'm like, take me.
Yeah, take me now, Ramona.
We called Cobb a master manipulator.
Yeah.
Oh, she'd have me in one look.
Yeah.
In one look.
I'm draining my bank account trying to give it to her as she's doing it.
I'm draining something else.
Gilbert Grape, move aside. Yeah, and then there's another one, Alison Brie's character. Aubrey Plaza's character.
Aubrey Plaza, the one who's giving Scott Pilgrim shit through the whole movie going, you're a bad person,
Steven
Scott.
Styles' ex, and she's just giving him shit. Her secret was that she secretly had a crush on Scott Pilgrim, and she really liked him.
So obvious. It's playground rules right there.
Yeah.
You push the girl that you fancy in the snow.
You pull the ponytails of the girl you like,
Should we talk about Toronto?
Let's talk about Toronto. This movie has been heralded as one of the most accurate representations of location shooting, isn't that it?
Yes, because the whole comic book is set in Toronto, and it's set in Toronto. It's not one of these things where the city's the backdrop.
Yeah, exactly.
There's actual specific
The Avengers
streets.
are in New York.
Yeah, exactly. But these are specific streets. Even though the writer mentioned one of the streets where he's like, that is Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
This certain street. And Edgar Wright was like, there's no way we're filming this anywhere else but Toronto. And he used all the smaller locations.
Yeah.
So if you live in Toronto, you'd be like, oh, that's that pizzeria or whatever. It's all these smaller personal locations that he uses. And it's, as you said, it's heralded as one of the best depictions of an actual city.
Yeah. And then Edgar Wright's like, I'm going to make this look great. Pulls the camera above it, makes 2 X's in the ground, and just has so much imagery throughout the whole movie. There's so many hidden X's throughout it. Scott wears 0 because he's not an evil X all the time. Each X has a number theme to them. We shouldn't get into them all, but
it's secretly implanted on all of their costumes.
Some are more obvious, some aren't. It's
Gideon's
just
less obvious, but he has 7 goons, and he swallows his gum, and it takes 7 years.
And the G kind of is a 7, because it's a G and a 7. It's all so cool, but. We should get into the music, because the music,
it's out of this world.
I want to buy a Sex Bomb album.
It's funny because we were just creaming ourselves over Hans Zimmer's score.
I know.
With this, Beck comes in and writes these grunge bass heavy tunes that are amazing.
They are. We've been singing them. You watch this movie on Wednesday night. It's stuck in my head since then. I've been listening to the soundtrack nonstop. So Beck specifically wrote the songs for Sex Bob-omb and Scott. Metric wrote the songs for Clash at Demon Head, which is Brandon Routh and
Alison Brie.
No, not Alison Brie.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson, yeah.
Get it wrong every time.
Ah, listen, it's okay. And by the way, that performance at the Clash of Demon Head, I'm just obsessed with it.
I'm obsessed with it too. I love it so much, and I love the music video they made afterwards.
Me too.
Where it's half the performance of Brie Larson.
Yeah,
I got it right that time.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
and then it has clips from the movie as well.
But then you see the
It's
behind the
excellent.
scenes footage, and they put on a genuine concert of this, so they did actually film it. And also, there's so many
and those venues.
Yeah,
they use real. Now I don't know about inside the venue, but you see outside real venues that are in Toronto as well.
I mean, they couldn't use the real because people break through roofs and everything. Lots of crazy shit happens, but. All the performances are real, and so the Clash of Demon Head stuff was written by Metric, and Crash and the Boys, who were in it for 2 seconds, were written by Broken Social Scene. Apparently they composed the music for them.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know about that.
So yeah, it's really cool. And Michael Cera was the only one of Sex Bob-omb who could play his instrument. He's actually a pretty good bassist and guitarist.
And his performance
as a bassist,
it's so cool.
He's such a bassist.
He's such a cool bass player.
Yeah, he is.
It's so cool. He'd be a great guy to watch live.
Yeah, he
would.
would.
We meant to actually, he has an album.
I know, we meant to listen to it, but we didn't. Yeah. Anyway, but the guy who plays Steven Styles, Matt Miller, is that what we said his name was?
I will get.
I want to make sure. I want to get people's names right in this because I liked Mark Webber. Sorry, Mark Webber. He had to learn how to sing and play guitar
in 2 months.
In 2 months, and then
never did either.
No, and Michael Cera had to be less good on bass so that everyone could meet up. Alison Pill had to learn how to play drums. Arguably the hardest challenge of the two. You
definitely,
know? 100%.
Definitely, I would say so. Well, I guess the guy singing, because you're singing on camera as well.
But then, even when he's singing, he sounds like he's found his grunge voice.
It's kind of conversational almost. Yeah. It's so cool. But this movie just oozes with coolness. It spills from the screen.
And when we talk about singers and everything, and you're like, that person's a really good singer, but there's nothing unique about them, therefore they could never be successful or whatever. His voice again is so unique and everything, and just the pronunciation, and he's just having fun with it. When you listen to something, you're like, that's so unique. Other people wouldn't make that choice and everything. I know.
But I think this is the problem with the movie when it comes to a wider audience.
Yeah.
It's unbelievably unique.
Yeah.
So there's so many people are like, oh, what is this? And, even though the trailer to me is pure kinetic energy and colors, and it's just got amazing vibes. But at the same time, I know that people would be like, I don't know.
Do you think this movie would do better now after Endgame and all that stuff has come out?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. I was watching it going, surely this would do better. But then I was like, but how much better?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's such a specific movie. It really is. And it's funny how Inception, just because it's got that blockbuster vibe about it, it kind of gets away with being so intellectual and so difficult to understand. Where Scott Pilgrim, I don't know if audiences would still run to the cinemas to watch it. You know what I mean? It's hard to gauge, but I know it's a question that probably will never be answered, but at the same time, I don't know. It's such a unique movie.
But again, it's a 7.5 out of 7.5 movie for me.
It is a 7. I think both of these movies are.
7.5.
This is definitely a 7.5 out of 7.5, and that's our rating system. Respected. It's an intellectual rating system.
If you can't understand the math behind this rating system, we can't help you.
Yeah.
Okay?
5 out of 5. Oh, imbeciles. Imbeciles.
Peasants. 10 out of 10. Stop overcomplicating things. Yeah. I mean, it's just we couldn't gush about both these movies more.
And one thing I was saying to you earlier before we started this podcast is that it's a movie that reminds you that it's a movie constantly. You know the way when you're watching a movie and you're like, oh, this just took me out of the scene.
Yeah.
This is constantly going, this isn't real.
Yeah.
This isn't real. Look, this is crazy. This is outlandish. Every single frame of this movie is kind of going, it's a movie, by the way.
Right from the second it starts, because they even have the manga lines coming as they're playing music.
Yeah, those motion manga lines are awesome. So good.
But then that's right from the beginning. So the movie slowly but surely buys you into this. This is a video game world. And then by the end of it, it just goes fucking crazy.
It goes mental. And also the care and attention for the CGI that is supposed to look good. Because it gets away with some stuff. Because it's hey, it's resembling an old school video game.
Yeah.
But then there's some CGI where you're like, wow, that just looks excellent. And we've even seen some of the behind the scenes where, first of all, by the way, Michael Cera is doing a lot of his own stunts. Most of the fighting he's doing himself.
We were also saying, for Michael Cera, he kind of looks quite buff in this.
He does. Now for Michael Cera.
For Michael Cera, he's also being put alongside Brandon Routh
and Chris Evans. Superman and Captain
America, two of the buffest superheroes around. But like for him, he's got a broadness to him that you don't normally see. He's got like there's some muscle up there.
When I watch it, I'm convinced.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's just how he comes at it. The confidence.
Yeah.
It's the confidence.
Yeah.
He has a physical confidence about him where I'm like, okay, he could throw down.
And Edgar Wright, he was always, the studio tried to push him to get a bigger name actor. Edgar Wright was like, it's Michael Cera with a bullet. I saw him in Arrested Development. You think it was going to be Brad Pitt or Will Smith, just like Inception? Exactly.
Like,
but the studio was like, no, we're going to put him. And he's like, if Michael Cera isn't leading this movie, I'm not doing it.
Also, Edgar Wright is ageist.
Yeah, he is.
If you're over 30, you're not in the movie.
Yeah, not in the movie. Or
unless you're vegan, please.
Unless you're vegan, please. Then you can be in the movie. Or if you're from England, you weren't supposed to be in the movie.
Yes.
But the guy who played Matthew Patel, Sacha Baba, he's this Londoner, and he snuck in there. Basically, he went to school like down the road from Edgar Wright or something.
Crazy.
Grew up near him in London, and Edgar Wright was, for his American movie, was trying to not cast English people, but Sacha Baba stuck in there.
And at the Comic-Con convention that they did for the panel for this movie, Nick Frost and Simon Pegg did a cameo.
Yeah, I know.
Because like loads of the actors couldn't do it because they have A-lister after A-lister. So I love how they weren't in the movie and they still supported their mate.
I know.
That's so cool.
But those three are such good mates as well. Yeah. Apparently they text all the time still. And
but they write movies together.
I know, but
like they don't even just make them, like they don't even just star, work together just for the movie. Like
they
Simon Pegg, he's credited as writing a lot of the movies with Edgar Wright.
Yeah, but I also want to, just to go back to Michael Cera for a bit, I like Edgar Wright's reasoning, because when he says it makes a lot of sense, because he says the reason they wanted Michael Cera was because Scott Pilgrim is not a great guy, but Michael Cera is likable despite doing bad things.
He can do anything. You're like, but it's Michael Cera.
Yeah, and that's what this entire movie, it's like you're still empathizing with Scott despite the fact that he's not making the best decisions or necessarily being the best guy.
And Ramona Flowers, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, she's not the best person as well. And yet you're kind of like, I want to see these two get on with it, and have a good life.
Again,
it's cool.
I buy their relationship more than I would Knives and Scott by the end of it, because I'm like, these two people, they're kind of broken, kind of messed up, but together I think they're okay.
Yeah.
Him and Knives,
two broken people, maybe make a normal
whole
person.
It's what does Deadpool say? He's like, you're the jigsaw piece. There's something about a puzzle piece that
I don't know.
They have weird edges or some shit. Like, I can't remember. But anyway, it's something like that. I also want to shout out how funny this movie is. We've talked about the music, talked about the action, how great it is. This movie's hilarious. So much funnier than like it has any right to be. And
it's so quirky and unique again, which might be why it wasn't so successful.
Exactly.
It's hilarious. It is hilarious. Chicken isn't vegan.
Chicken isn't vegan.
Like just that line alone.
24th of March, you had an egg parmesan. Egg isn't vegan. He's like, chicken isn't vegan. Oh, I mean, can I have your autograph? I mean, by the way, every second Chris Evans is on screen, hilarious.
The brows on that man. He is excellent. I don't do my own stunts. I'm nothing without my stunt team.
I'm nothing without my stunt team.
When he cracks his neck with the universal fanfare as well. Oh, it's so good.
And then he's
Can you do a thingy on that rail? And he's like, it's called a grind. And he's like, can you do a grindy thingy on that rail? So good.
Yeah. And when he's like, here's your board. I'm a big fan. Why wouldn't you be?
Why wouldn't you be? And I think this is such a hidden joke.
Yeah.
But at one point you see newspapers where you see the different films that Chris Evans' character is in.
An ex-skateboarding movie actor now.
Of course. So cool.
With his own skate company.
But of course I'm a great skateboarder. I've got my own skate company. Such a great line.
Sorry.
But one of the movies is that he plays an action doctor.
Yeah.
And the log line is, good news is you're going to live. Bad news is, I'm going to kill you. It's so good.
He wears the same outfit in every movie. And then Todd is like the most powerful of the exes, but he's also an idiot, a very secret idiot. He's like, I don't understand the meaning of the word. And then it's like, he really doesn't.
Yeah, which is Brandon Routh. Yeah.
Everyone's memorable. Gideon's amazing. He's hilarious.
Jason Schwartzman is such a prick. Like, let's be honest,
yeah.
he's such a prick. He plays such. Do you know what? It's also he's small.
Yeah.
And it makes it better.
It does.
Because you have
where is this confidence coming from?
Exactly.
Where is it coming from?
Because you got this physically dominating people like Brandon Routh and Chris Evans, but
Yeah.
then you have the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Is Gideon, and he's just a small guy. He's got his black rimmed spectacles, and he's just
always
like,
chewing gum.
Such a dick.
Such a dick.
Such a dick.
And I don't even think he has a big dick. He just doesn't care.
He doesn't care. His micro penis. I don't
doesn't
care.
care.
I'm gonna lob it in there anyway.
He doesn't care.
And were you satisfied? Don't answer that because I don't care.
I don't care.
I had my fun, and that's all that matters.
And every character.
How I live my life, man. How I live my life.
Yeah. Every character just has great moments. Like, it's just.
It's pure excellence.
It's pure excellence. And we should move on to something else that is excellent because we're getting towards the end.
Hopefully not bogus.
Yeah. But
most likely is bogus.
It's probably going to be bogus. We'll discuss it in a minute. But everyone watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Inception and Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Two ends of the spectrum, not just financially, but also just they're so different but yet unique. Like one is a serious intellectual thriller, and the other one is like one of the most fantastical superhero movies you'll ever watch, or comic book adaptations you'll ever watch. So funny, so just I'd say colourful and unique.
It's I think Scott Pilgrim, more than Inception, is one of my all-time favorite movies ever. I think
I would say so too.
With a bullet, but Inception's amazing as well. Like, I couldn't have picked two better movies to talk about today.
Just amazing filmmaking right there.
Yeah, it really is. And happy 10-year anniversary.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah, well done, guys.
Still holds up.
Yeah, they do still hold up. Scott Pilgrim will be timeless, and Inception, I think, could also be timeless.
I do think so.
Yeah.
Like 10 years later, it hasn't aged.
No.
It really hasn't.
No. What were you going to say there?
Don't know.
Okay, cool.
Let's move on
to Bill and Ted's. Bill and Ted 3.
Bill and Ted Face the Music.
That's it, Face the Music, yeah.
So the new trailer dropped, a proper trailer, because the other one was a teaser, and it really was a teaser. It didn't really give much away.
And we slagged Alex de Winter when we first came out.
Alex Winter,
but he seems to be way more
in tune with his character than Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves, maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing John Wick vibes, and I'm just seeing Keanu Reeves vibes.
He's a bit too sleepy.
He's a slight bit flat, and it hurts me to say that. Where Alex Winter, maybe because he's only played 3 roles in his life, but Alex Winter, he's back to it, straight there. He's on an excellent adventure.
Yeah.
So the new trailer dropped, and also some new information that it was pushed back, but the movie's actually coming out because now it's going to be released on the 1st of September on VOD and select cinemas. And when they say select cinemas, I think it means anything
cinemas.
I think it's anything that's open, which could be no cinemas.
Yeah.
You know the way?
Any hole's a goal.
Yeah, exactly. If it's open, it's coming out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is good. This is good news because even though it was pushed back, because it's coming out on VOD or PVOD, I don't even think this is premium VOD.
I think this movie...
I think it's just VOD.
We both agree that this movie could be more successful than it deserves because it's coming out on VOD, basically.
But the thing is, because it's coming out on VOD, means it might actually come out.
It might actually come out, yeah, exactly.
Because I think, like we were saying with Tenet, it got pushed back, and now it doesn't even have a release date.
I mean, the list of movies that have been pushed back or taken off the release schedule is just endless at this stage.
And Avatar now has been pushed back by a year. Mulan, this is a big deal for Disney.
Yeah.
I think they spent like $200 million on that. Doesn't have a release date now.
Doesn't show either.
It's crazy.
When I watched the trailer.
Yeah, I suppose.
But we're going to do a straight to series competition that I didn't tell Ian about.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we are. We're going to do it, and it's with regards to the Bill and Ted trailer. For anyone who listens to this podcast, I want you to write into us and tell us the ending of the movie.
Watch the trailer.
Watch the trailer and tell us how the movie ends.
So, Connor watched... I won't give it away, but Connor watched the trailer, and he said to me today... I hadn't watched it yet. We watched it together then. He said to me, I think I know how the film ends.
Yeah.
And then we were both watching the trailer, and you said to me, tell me how the film ends.
Yeah.
I think a minute and 50 seconds into the trailer.
The trailer hadn't finished, and he went, I know how the movie ends.
And that was the same idea that you had.
Yeah, we were so in sync. So, if you write in and tell us how this movie ends, and you agree with us, we will give you a shout out on the next episode of the podcast.
Yes, definitely, and we'll give you a hint. It's cool to be woke these days.
Yeah, it's real cool to be woke these days. Samara Weaving is great, and other actress.
Jesus. I'll give
Don't
you
know her name, yeah.
I love Samara Weaving.
Me too, she's amazing. Everyone should check out Ready or Not, by the way. Great movie.
Also, well, I haven't seen that, but I've seen.
No, you've seen Ready or Not.
It's Ready or Not that I've seen.
Yes, it is. Ready or Not's the one about hide and seek. Your Next is the one you're thinking of.
Sorry,
that's
that's it.
Seen.
Ready or Not is excellent.
Also, check out Your Next. That's another great film.
So
unrelated to Samara Weaving.
Bridget Lundy Payne.
Bridget Lundy Payne. What's she been in?
She's the other girl. The other daughter.
Other daughter, yeah. She's Ted's
been
daughter.
In very few things. Downsize and Action. Oh, Downsize.
Action Point. I've seen Action Point.
Yeah, with
Johnny Knoxville.
Johnny Knoxville. Both of them were massive bombs, though.
Yeah.
Even the Glass Castle, bomb as well. So
Bombshell? What's that?
I don't know.
Is that... Oh,
it's a female movie.
She played one of their daughters, guarantee you.
Definitely.
Guarantee you, with a bullet.
So yeah, Bill and Ted, now, it sounds like it's actually definitely coming out. I know that I'm still skeptical.
Yeah.
But no, I do think this is going to come out because it's coming out in PVOD. And here's the thing. I don't think it matters if it's good or not.
No.
Like, I mean, of course I want it to be good. And of course I'm going to watch it because there's a content drought right now. So I'm definitely going to dip into it. And I think we should actually do a review of the whole trilogy.
Oh,
that would be fun.
That sounds great.
Especially since I've kind of seen Bill and Ted 1 and 2, but vaguely as a kid.
I've seen Bogus Journey, but not 1.
Okay.
Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey, yeah.
So I think we could review all 3 of them and see how they kind of line up together.
I sprung the contest on you. You sprung that on me, and I like it.
Yeah, I think
we sprung each other. Ooh, well.
And off air, we will spring again.
Gilbert.
So I don't think it matters. I think it's a luxury that we're getting a sequel.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though I don't remember the original 2 films. I don't think they have this prestigious air to them. You know, it's not like,
really.
oh my god, you can't dilute this franchise. You know.
Well, you made an excellent point that this happens all the time, and there's like plenty of examples. Like the one we first came up with was Anchorman 2. You know, Anchorman 1 is still a gem of a film. Just don't watch Anchorman 2.
It's a classic, and Anchorman 2 tries.
Yeah.
There's moments. But does it matter that it falls flat?
Nah, not really.
Not really.
It doesn't take away from the original film.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
It's the exact same
Whatever,
thing.
like 25 years later.
Even the Dumb and Dumber prequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter if they're good or not. It's a luxury that we're getting them. Let's dip into them.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that good. Whatever. It
Zoolander
doesn't tarnish
2.
the brand.
No, it doesn't tarnish it. Not really,
It's
anyway.
almost like there shouldn't be a brand, so it doesn't matter.
It tarnishes for all of the time it's in cinemas, where everyone's like, man, that's a terrible movie. And then a year passes and you go, man, I really want to watch Zoolander again. What a great movie.
Yeah, so Zoolander 2 is god-awful.
Yeah.
It's god-awful.
Dumb and Dumber 2.
Does it dilute Zoolander 1?
Nah, not
doesn't
really.
Matter.
It doesn't really matter, yeah.
I really don't care.
Yeah, so Bill and Ted, it can be terrible.
But I hope it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm trying to be positive about it. I think the trailer looks like it's middle of the road.
Yeah.
It could be good. It could be bad. I had like one legitimate laugh in the trailer.
Yeah. Enter the Straight to Series competition. Everyone.
How does it end? How does Bill and Ted Face the Music end?
Watch the trailer. Tell us how it ends. Boom. That's the competition.
Perfect. We seen one other thing.
New Mutants.
New Mutants.
The first 2 minutes of New Mutants.
Hey, that still exists.
Yeah. Guess what? It's coming out. Is it?
Is it though?
We've seen the first 2 minutes, which means it's a real movie.
Yeah. Disney Plus just release
Just
it.
take
just
it.
Stream it.
Yeah.
You need the content.
Yeah.
We don't need that movie.
Disney
Let's just meet in the middle, baby.
It's like in Breaking Bad when Walter has to go to the crack house to get Jesse. It's like, go in there and get New Mutants out of that Fox crack house.
Exactly.
It's sitting there twitching in the corner, and he's like making sure it doesn't swallow its tongue, and it's bringing it out.
And Josh Boone foolishly said, I'd like to see this as a trilogy.
Kevin Feige.
I can't fucking... Ha! Hold my beer!
We'd all like to make trilogies, Josh, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Why not make it a shared cinematic
Why not make it a
universe?
shared universe?
These boys think they can do what I do.
Yeah, exactly. He turned into like a southern gentleman all of a sudden.
Josh Boone.
Oh, well, we'd all like to be making trilogies, wouldn't we, Josh? It's just not possible. Yeah, I mean, look, the first 2 minutes were fine.
It was okay. Do you know what? When I watched the first 2 minutes, I was like, why are we watching the first 2 minutes? Because it wasn't great enough, you know that way?
Yeah. Your feet went up on the table. I've never seen them more. And by the way, I should say, Ian adopted the pose that New Mutants is meant to be watched
I was just
in.
watching it like this going, what are we doing?
I don't give a fuck.
What are we doing
What
today?
are we doing here? This is why this movie should not be put out in cinemas. You can't do this in a movie theater.
I do feel badass, though.
Yeah, and I bet you
New
do.
New Mutants... Throw it out on Disney
Throw
Plus.
it out. And then there's another release trailer that came out, or teaser trailer that came out. A clip, teaser, and...
It was a clip.
It's not great either. No, sorry, I meant of New Mutants. Well, no.
Oh,
you know the
I'm
teaser
thinking-
trailer we watched? I know what you're thinking of. Project Power got a clip.
Sorry, yeah, there was a new trailer and there was the first 2 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not great.
It's not great,
But
I don't care about this movie.
neither do I. But I do care about that Poster Posse poster.
That poster is amazing.
It is. We should give props to Poster Posse for that poster.
Yeah, and they follow us on Instagram, so if you can't find them, even though they're called Poster Posse, so just check them out. They commission art from all these other different amazing graphic artists.
Yeah.
They're just excellent. Their body of work is just fantastic, and we're always constantly posting their work on our, I guess, Instagram story.
Instagram story all the time. Yeah.
I got that sentence out.
You got to check it out and go peruse the Poster Posse profile on Instagram.
Really do. The best thing I've seen about this movie so far is their poster.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Do you know what? It's not even a big compliment.
It's not. But here's the thing. The clip wasn't exciting. The trailer wasn't exciting. That poster, it's like, oh, maybe there's some quality in here.
And Anna
Taylor-Joy.
Her costume excites me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Excites my midriff.
A guy kind of said, he's like, man, that was hot. And I'm like, yes, that was hot.
That was hot. She is hot.
She is hot.
And,
Magic, playing Colossus' sister.
Yeah. So. Shouldn't be Furiosa because we have a Furiosa.
We have a perfectly
good. She is excellent. Her name is Charlize Theron, and maybe she should make that movie instead of the Old Guard 2.
Haha, I knew where you were going.
Hey,
with that.
world, we know what's up, and it's not a good movie.
Yes, we know it's an average movie. I don't know why the rest of the world doesn't see that, but whatever. We kind of touched on it, but the clip of Project Power also came out, and it's the clip of Joseph Gordon-Levitt being shot in the head.
Right in the head.
It's cool. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Again, content drought.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's coming to Netflix soon.
August 14th.
Is it?
Boom. Locked in there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's August 14th.
That's my sister's birthday.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, August 14th.
August
well
14th.
done, man.
Thank you. I'm excited about this movie, and if that clip is any indication, and hopefully not the best part of the movie, then it looks like this movie could be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. It's a Netflix movie, so like, hey, cool, give me it.
Yeah,
you know, and Jamie Foxx just being pure Jamie Foxx. Yeah. He couldn't be cooler.
And again, like we said in the thing, Joseph Gordon-Levitt back as a cop is for some reason so exciting.
And he's got a slightly more haggard look to him. Just slightly because, hey, he's 10 years older from Inception.
And he's popping...
Or 8 years older from playing a cop in Dark Knight Rises.
And he's popping power pills in this, so of course he's a bit aged, you know?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Me too.
And I think that should be the end of the episode.
Except for one thing.
Oh, we got Hunk and
Skunk.
Jeez, we've been... Oh, well, okay. Hunk. Two great movies.
Yeah. I don't think Inception should win a Hunk.
No, but I don't even want to give it to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Neither.
Can we give it to Michael Cera?
Yeah, let's give it to Michael Cera.
For his physical dominance?
Yeah.
Like, he wins the geek war, you know what I mean?
He does. He totally does. Give him a sword that's on fire, and I'm like, yeah I totally buy you as a badass hero.
Even though I do want to give it to Ramona Flowers. But no, Michael Cera, because it's great to see a dorky dude like him.
Yeah.
And I mean that with respect.
Oh,
like,
totally.
It's Michael Cera. He's pretty
He knows
awesome.
what he's like. You know, he's a cool guy.
But he can throw down, and I believe it. That's what's cool about it. I believe it. I can... For whatever reason, I believe like he can throw down with Chris Evans and his stunt team. The movie's so good that it makes me believe that.
The second he starts fighting, I'm like, oh, okay, I buy this.
Okay.
And
when he headbutts a dude,
oh, it's awesome.
Matthew Patel, I'm like, okay,
that's cool.
I'm in.
KO's him.
KO.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to give Hunk to the entire cast of Scott Pilgrim, but if we're to boil it down to one person, Michael Cera, Scott Pilgrim is a great choice. Skunk. Who'd you give it to?
To the ending of Bill and Ted 3.
The ending of Bill and Ted 3.
No, we can't kind of do that, can we?
Maybe they do it well. Unlikely.
Unlikely.
Who should we give it to? There's got to be a good skunk
this has
out
been
there.
a positive episode.
Yeah, it has. The positive juices were flowing.
They really have been.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I see. I want to give it to New Mutants, but like it's too easy of a target.
I know. It's like kicking a
dog. Can we give it to Josh Boone for wanting a trilogy?
Yeah, let's give it to Josh Boone for being foolish.
Know your place, man.
Yeah, know your place, Josh. You're not getting a trilogy.
Yeah. You're a human footstool for Kevin Feige, okay? That's what you are.
Yeah.
When you ask for PPE, he throws you a gimp mask. He's like, fuck off, mate.
Kevin Feige's
I got a toilet for you to clean.
Kevin Feige.
And Josh Boone could be a great filmmaker.
He could. I mean, haven't seen the movie. But Kevin Feige's sitting there smoking a cigar, and he's like, "You're lucky your little indie flick is coming out at all." And he's flicking his cigar. And he's
like, "It is coming out.
Yeah,
it is coming out." He's like, "Get back to scrubbing the floors.
Go back to editing those first 2 minutes, Josh. They're not up to snuff."
Josh foot rub Boone is what he calls him.
Exactly. We'll give it to him for being foolish.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, Josh. That's an undeserving skunk, but
I don't care.
We stand by it. Yeah. Straight to Series stands by its hunk and skunk picks. And on that note, we're gonna go eat Gilbert Grape. So see you guys later.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too.
Take a bite of his apple.
Hell yeah. Bye, guys.